The crystalline spires of Nova Prime's capital city pierced the violet sky like ancient daggers, their surfaces refracting the light of 3 moons into a kaleidoscope of colors. Lieutenant Commander Nathan Reed stood at the observation deck of the United Earth Embassy, his dark eyes fixed on the horizon where the planet's binary stars were setting. 6 months into his posting as Earth's primary diplomatic liaison, and he still hadn't grown used to the alien beauty of this world. His comm unit chimed, interrupting his reverie. "Commander Reed, the Nexary delegation has arrived ahead of schedule." Lieutenant Parker's voice carried an edge of nervousness that made Nathan straighten his uniform. "How far ahead?" he asked, already moving toward the elevator. They're already in the reception chamber." Nathan quickened his pace. The Nexary were known for their rigid adherence to protocol, and arriving early was unprecedented. Something had changed, and in diplomatic relations, change usually meant trouble. The reception chamber doors slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a sight that made Nathan's breath catch. Among the typical Nexary guards with their silvery scales and ceremonial armor stood a warrior unlike any he'd seen before. Nearly 7 feet tall, with scales that shifted between deep purple and midnight blue, she carried herself with a predator's grace. Her name was Kthar, and rumors of her legendary combat skills had reached even Earth's diplomatic corps. "I am Kthar, First Blade of the Nexary High Command," the warrior announced, her translator rendering her complex harmonics into crisp English. "We come with urgent matters to discuss." Nathan recovered quickly, falling back on years of diplomatic training. "Welcome to the United Earth Embassy, First Blade Kthar. I'm Lieutenant Commander Nathan Reed. While we're honored by your presence, standard protocol." "Protocol serves peace in peaceful times, Commander," Kthar interrupted, taking a step forward. The guards around her tensed, but she waved them back with a gesture. "These are not peaceful times." Nathan studied her face, noting the subtle signs of stress even through the alien features. "Perhaps we should speak privately, First Blade." Kthar's head tilted slightly, a gesture Nathan had learned indicated approval. As they walked to the secure conference room, he couldn't help but notice how her scales seemed to ripple with each movement, creating patterns that challenged human perception. Once sealed inside, Kthar's formal posture softened slightly. "Your reputation precedes you, Commander Reed. They say you understand our people better than any human." "I try," Nathan replied carefully. "Though I find new depths to explore every day." "Then explore this depth. We have detected a Varketh battle fleet approaching the outer rim. They will reach Nova Prime in less than 3 lunar cycles." Nathan's blood ran cold. The Varketh were supposed to be a myth, ancient enemies of the Nexary that had vanished millennia ago. "How certain is this intelligence?" "Certain enough that I have been authorized to share our most guarded secret with you." Kthar's scales shifted, and Nathan watched in amazement as they seemed to flow like liquid metal. "The Nexary are not simply warriors, Commander. We are skinwalkers. We can adapt, become other forms. It is how we survived the first Varketh War." To demonstrate, Kthar's form shimmered, her scales smoothing and changing until she appeared almost human, save for her alien eyes that remained unchanged. Nathan found himself transfixed by the transformation, his diplomatic training warring with his natural curiosity. "Impressive," he managed to say, his voice steadier than he felt. "But why share this with us now?" Kthar resumed her natural form. "Because the Varketh remember this ability. They will expect it. What they won't expect is humans fighting alongside us, using strategies and technologies they've never encountered." Her voice lowered. "And because I have watched you, Nathan Reed. I have seen how you think, how you solve problems in ways our rigid traditions would never consider." "You're proposing an alliance?" Nathan asked, his mind already racing with possibilities. "I'm proposing a partnership." Kthar's eyes seemed to glow more intensely. "One that will require us to break down the barriers between our species in ways neither side has contemplated." The implications hung in the air between them, heavy with possibility and danger. Nathan had dedicated his life to building bridges between humans and aliens, but this was something entirely different. He could feel the weight of history pressing down on this moment, the futures of both their species hanging in the balance. "The Council won't like this," Nathan said finally. "Neither will your high command." Kthar's scales rippled with what Nathan had learned was amusement. "That is precisely why it must be us, Commander. Sometimes the old ways must bend before they break." She extended her hand in a very human gesture she must have learned through observation. "Are you willing to bend with me?" Nathan looked at the offered hand, its scales now shifting to match a more neutral tone. The gesture was both a question and a challenge, a test of everything he believed about human-alien relations. He took Kthar's hand, finding it warmer and more solid than he expected. "Call me Nathan," he said. "If we're going to break all the rules, we might as well start with formality." Kthar's answering expression revealed an alien grace that reminded Nathan just how far humanity had come, and how far they still had to go. They stood there, sealing their alliance, human and alien, about to embark on something that would either save their worlds or end them. And in that moment, Nathan realized that the diplomatic posting he'd thought would be the pinnacle of his career was actually just the beginning of a much greater adventure. Dawn broke over Nova Prime's capital city in shades of emerald and gold, casting long shadows through the crystalline architecture. In the embassy's secure training facility, Nathan Reed watched as Kthar demonstrated her species' remarkable abilities. Her scaled form shifted and flowed like quicksilver, taking on different shapes with fluid grace. "The transformation isn't just physical," Kthar explained, her form stabilizing back to her natural state. "We absorb, understand, become. It's how we've survived as a species, by learning to adapt not just our bodies, but our minds." Nathan circled her, taking notes on his datapad. "And this is why the Varketh fear you so much? Because you can infiltrate their ranks?" "Partially." Kthar's scales rippled with what Nathan had learned was thoughtfulness. "But the true reason is deeper. The Varketh believe in absolute purity. Our ability to change, to adapt, it's an abomination to them." The facility's lights dimmed suddenly, and emergency protocols activated. Lieutenant Parker's voice crackled over the comm. "Commander Reed, we're detecting unusual energy signatures in the outer system." "The Varketh, they're already here." Nathan's heart raced. "That's impossible. You said we had 3 lunar cycles. They've improved their drive technology." Kthar's voice carried an edge of steel. "Nathan, there's something I haven't told you. Something that changes everything." Before she could continue, the facility's main screen lit up with an incoming transmission. The face that appeared was nightmarish, a mass of writhing tentacles surrounding eyes that glowed with artificial light. The Varketh High Commander's translated voice filled the room like oil on water. "People of Nova Prime and Earth, your time of judgment has come. The abomination of change ends now. Submit to purity or face extinction." Kthar moved closer to Nathan, her voice low and urgent. "The transformation protocol, it's not just about changing forms. It's about evolution itself. My people discovered a way to permanently alter our genetic structure, to become something new entirely. Something that could bridge the gap between our species permanently." Nathan's diplomatic training kicked in, his mind racing through implications. "You're talking about becoming human? Permanently?" "Not exactly. Something in between. A true hybrid form." Kthar's scales shifted, revealing patterns Nathan had never seen before. "But it's forbidden. The last time it was attempted, during the First Varketh War, the warrior who underwent the procedure was changed. They gained powers beyond our understanding, but at a terrible cost." The facility shook as the first wave of Varketh weapons hit Nova Prime's orbital defenses. Nathan could see streams of plasma fire lighting up the sky through the reinforced windows. The Council believes this is why the Varketh have returned, Kthar continued. They somehow learned that we were researching the protocol again. But what they don't know is that we've solved the problems that plagued the first attempt. At least, theoretically. Understanding dawned on Nathan. You want to be the test subject. I must be. I'm the only one with the genetic markers that match the original warrior. Kthar's eyes met his, intense and unwavering. But the process requires a human genetic template. Someone whose DNA can stabilize the transformation. Someone whose mind can anchor mine through the change. Another explosion rocked the facility, closer this time. Emergency sirens wailed as the Varketh breached the outer defense grid. Through the chaos, Nathan found himself stepping closer to Kthar, drawn by something he couldn't quite name. Why me? He asked, though part of him already knew the answer. Because you understand us, understand me, in a way no other human does. Because your mind works in patterns that complement our own. Kthar's form shimmed slightly, unconsciously mirroring his stance. And because I trust you, Nathan Reed. With my life, with my very essence. The weight of the moment pressed down on them both. Outside, the battle for Nova Prime was beginning in earnest. Inside, a different kind of battle raged in Nathan's mind, between duty, desire, and the unknown consequences of what Kthar proposed. The procedure could kill you, he said finally. Or worse. And if we do nothing, the Varketh will destroy both our peoples. Kthar's scales rippled with determination. Sometimes survival requires transformation. You taught me that, even if you didn't realize it. Nathan thought of all the diplomatic protocols he'd already broken, all the rules he'd bent in service of a greater good. This was different, more personal, more profound. But perhaps that's exactly why it was necessary. What do you need from me? Kthar's relief was visible in the way her scales settled into a more harmonious pattern. Your genetic material, freely given. And your mind, linked to mine through the transformation. You'll experience everything I do. Feel what I feel. There can be no secrets between us. The implications of such intimacy should have terrified him. Instead, Nathan felt an unexpected calm settle over him. When do we begin? Now. Kthar activated a hidden panel in her armor, revealing a crystalline chamber barely large enough for one. The laboratory is hidden beneath this facility. My people have been preparing for this moment for generations, hoping it would never come. As they descended to the secret lab, Nathan caught glimpses of the battle raging above through crystal-reinforced viewport. The Varketh ships were beautiful in their terrible efficiency, their organic mechanical forms cutting through Nova Prime's defenses like scythes through wheat. Once we begin, Kthar said as they reached the lab, there's no turning back. The person I am now will cease to exist. What emerges, even our best scientists aren't certain. Nathan looked at her, really looked at her. Past the alien features, past the warrior's armor, to the soul beneath. The essence of who you are isn't in your form, Kthar. It's in your choices. Your courage. Your willingness to sacrifice everything to save both our peoples. She touched his face with a scaled hand, the gesture startlingly gentle. You understand more than you know, Nathan Reed. Perhaps that's why the universe brought us together in this moment. Above them, the battle for Nova Prime raged on. Below, in a secret laboratory built by ancient Nexari wisdom, two beings from different worlds prepared to break down the barriers between their species forever. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, but in that moment, all Nathan could focus on was the trust in Kthar's alien eyes, and the knowledge that, whatever she became, he would be there to help her find her way back to herself. The underground laboratory hummed with ancient power as the transformation chamber pulsed with bioluminescent energy. Nathan pressed his hand against the crystal surface, watching as Kthar's form writhed within. The neural link they'd established buzzed in his mind like static electricity, carrying echoes of her pain and determination. Genetic reconstruction at 70%, announced the lab's AI in its melodious Nexary tones. Warning, subject's neural patterns showing unprecedented complexity. Through their link, Nathan felt Kthar's consciousness brush against his, no longer entirely alien, not quite human, but something gloriously unique. The sensation was like touching a live wire wrapped in silk, dangerous but irresistible. "Stay with me," he whispered, unsure if she could hear him through the chamber's walls. But he felt her response through their connection, a wave of gratitude and something deeper, more personal. The chamber's crystal surface began to crack, hairline fractures spreading like spider webs. Nathan stepped back as emergency containment fields sprang to life. In that moment, the neural link between them exploded with sensation, pain, euphoria, fear, triumph, all mixed together in a kaleidoscope of emotion. When the chamber finally opened, steam billowing out in iridescent clouds, Kthar emerged transformed. She stood before him, her new form a breathtaking fusion of human and Nexary traits. Her skin retained a subtle pattern of scales that shifted colors with her emotions, but now followed human contours. Her height had decreased slightly, though she still stood impressively tall. Her face combined the best aspects of both species, exotic and familiar at once, with those same remarkable eyes that had first captured his attention. "Nathan?" Her voice carried new harmonics, like music played on both human and alien instruments simultaneously. She took an unsteady step forward, and he moved to support her. The moment their skin made contact, the neural link flared with renewed intensity. Nathan gasped as memories that weren't his own flooded his mind, centuries of Nexary history, the weight of Kthar's responsibilities, her private fears and hopes, all cascading through his consciousness. The link wasn't supposed to last beyond the transformation, Kthar said, steadying herself against him. "This is unexpected." Before Nathan could respond, the laboratory's emergency alerts activated. Lieutenant Parker's voice cut through the moment. "Commander Reed, the Varkath have breached the inner defense grid. Wait, something's wrong with their ships. They're changing course?" Nathan and Kthar made their way to the lab's primary display screen. The tactical readout showed the Varkath fleet's formation dissolving into chaos, their ships reacting to some unseen threat. "They can sense me," Kthar said, her new features showing a mixture of wonder and concern. "The transformation, it's given me access to their network somehow. I can feel their ships, their minds." Through their sustained neural link, Nathan could feel it too, the vast, cold consciousness of the Varkath hive mind, recoiling in horror at what Kthar had become. She represented everything they feared: change, adaptation, the breaking of boundaries they considered sacred. "We need to get you to the surface," Nathan said, already moving toward the exit. "If you can affect their fleet from here, then I might be able to do more from a closer position." Kthar finished his thought, her mind working in perfect sync with his. "But Nathan, there's something else. The transformation, it's not complete. I can feel it continuing, evolving. I'm becoming something even the ancient Nexary didn't anticipate." As if to demonstrate, her form shifted slightly, the scaled patterns on her skin forming new configurations that seemed to bend light itself. Nathan felt a surge of power through their link that made his hair stand on end. They made their way through the embassy's emergency tunnels, Kthar adapting to her new form with increasing confidence. Every few minutes, they felt tremors from the battle above, but the Varkatha's attacks had become erratic, unfocused. "Your people are watching," Nathan said as they approached the surface. Through their link, he could sense the attention of the Nexary High Command, their mixture of fear and fascination at what Kthar had become. "Let them watch," Kthar replied, her voice carrying new strength. "The old ways must change if our species are to survive. We're proof of that." They emerged into chaos. The sky above Nova Prime was alive with energy weapons and burning ships. But as Kthar stepped into the open, something remarkable happened. The very air seemed to vibrate with power, and Nathan watched through their shared consciousness as she reached out to the Varketh fleet with her mind. The neural link suddenly flooded with alien presence, thousands of Varketh minds connected to their organic ships, all reeling from contact with Kthar's transformed consciousness. Nathan felt her extending her influence, not to destroy or control, but to make them understand. Through her, through their link, Nathan transmitted his own memories, humanity's long history of adaptation and change, of turning differences into strengths. He showed them Earth's multitude of cultures and species living in harmony, the power of diversity, the beauty of transformation. Kthar's form began to glow with internal light, her scaled patterns forming impossibly complex geometries. She turned to Nathan, her expression both familiar and transcendent. "I understand now," she said, her voice resonating on multiple frequencies. "This was never about becoming human or remaining Nexary. It's about becoming more than we are, all of us, together." Nathan felt the truth of it through their connection, saw the potential future unfolding before them, not just for humans and Nexary, but for the Varketh as well. A future where change wasn't something to be feared, but embraced. But first, they had to survive the present moment. Above them, the Varketh fleet was regrouping, their horror at Kthar's transformation warring with centuries of militant ideology. Through their link, Nathan could feel her preparing for what came next, a confrontation that would either bridge the gap between three species or end in destruction for all of them. As if sensing his concern, Kthar took his hand. The contact sent sparks of energy dancing across their skin, their shared consciousness harmonizing into something greater than either of them alone. "Whatever happens next," she said, "we face it together." Nathan squeezed her hand, feeling the subtle texture of scales against his palm. "Together," he agreed, as the sky above them erupted with new fire, and the next phase of their adventure began. The command center of Nova Prime's defense headquarters buzzed with frantic activity as tactical displays showed the Varketh fleet regrouping. Nathan stood beside Kthar, their neural link humming with shared purpose as they faced the gathered leaders of both their species. "Impossible," breathed the Nexary High Commander, his ancient scales dulled with age. "The protocol was never meant to achieve this level of integration." Kthar's new form commanded attention, her scaled patterns shifting with subtle iridescence under the command center's harsh lights. "The universe rarely concerns itself with our intentions, High Commander. What matters is what we do with the results." Through their link, Nathan felt her discomfort at being studied like a specimen, but also her fierce pride in what she had become. He stepped closer, offering silent support that rippled through their shared consciousness. "The Varketh fleet is advancing again," announced Lieutenant Parker from her station. "But their formation, it's different. More organic." The tactical display showed the enemy ships moving in patterns that seemed to defy traditional space combat doctrine. Nathan felt Kthar's sudden tension through their link moments before the realization hit her. "They're adapting," she said, her voice carrying new harmonics of concern. "Our contact through the neural network, they're learning from it. Using their organic ships to mirror the transformation process." As if to confirm her words, the nearest Varketh battleship began to change shape, its biomechanical structure flowing into new configurations. Through their link, Nathan and Kthar felt the collective consciousness of the Varketh crew, their horror at transformation warping into a desperate attempt to master it. "If they succeed in adapting their entire fleet," Nathan said, understanding flowing between them, "they won't try to destroy change anymore. They'll try to control it. Force evolution itself to follow their vision of purity." The room erupted in urgent discussions, but Kthar's focus turned inward. Nathan felt her consciousness brush against his with new intensity. "The transformation isn't finished," she sent through their link. "I can feel it wanting to complete itself, to become something more. But the power required would leave you vulnerable," Nathan finished, understanding her concern. "And we don't know what you'll become." "No," she agreed, her scaled patterns swirling with emotion. But I know who I am. Because of you. Their private moment was shattered by new alarms. The main display showed Varketh ships launching some kind of biological weapon, pods that burned through Nova Prime's atmosphere like meteor showers. Impact in 3 minutes, Parker announced. They're targeting major population centers. Kthar moved to the center of the room, her form beginning to pulse with internal light. I can stop them. But I need energy. More than the transformation chamber provided. The city's power grid, Nathan said, the idea flowing between them through their link. The crystalline towers, they're not just architecture, are they? They're collectors, the High Commander confirmed, his opposition wavering in the face of crisis. Built by our ancestors to harvest energy from the binary stars. But channeling that much power through a single being would kill a normal Nexari, Kthar finished. But I'm not normal anymore. And I won't be alone. She turned to Nathan, her transformed features showing both determination and something deeper, more personal. The neural link lets us share more than thoughts. If you're willing. Nathan stepped forward without hesitation, taking her hands. The contact sent sparks of energy dancing across their skin as their shared consciousness deepened. Whatever you need. Whatever it takes. The High Commander moved to object, but Kthar's voice cut through any protest. The time for caution is past. We either embrace change fully or we let fear destroy us all. Through their strengthened link, Nathan felt Kthar's consciousness expanding, reaching out to the crystalline network that powered the city. Energy began flowing through them both, turning their shared mind space into a storm of light and sensation. The transformation that had begun in the chamber accelerated. Kthar's form became radiant, her scaled patterns flowing like liquid starlight. Nathan felt his own consciousness stretching, growing, merging with hers until it became difficult to tell where one ended and the other began. Through their combined awareness, they felt the Varketh biological weapons burning through the atmosphere. But they also felt something else, the fundamental patterns of reality itself, the code that governed both organic and mechanical systems. Now, Kthar sent through their link, her thoughts blazing with power. Show them what true transformation means. Together, they reached out to the falling weapons with their enhanced consciousness. Instead of simply destroying them, they began to change them at the molecular level, transforming their destructive purpose into something new. The sky above Nova Prime erupted with light as thousands of biological weapons blossomed into crystalline flowers, each one a testament to the possibility of change. The sight sent shock waves through the Varketh fleet's collective consciousness, no longer just horror at transformation, but the first glimmers of wonder. But the power rushing through them was taking its toll. Nathan felt Kthar's consciousness flickering, the energy threatening to burn out both their minds. Through their link, memories flowed between them, his childhood on Earth, her centuries of warrior training, the moment they first met, all mixing together in a kaleidoscope of shared experience. Kthar, he sent through their connection, feeling her starting to slip away. Stay with me. Her response came not in words but in pure emotion, trust, determination, and something that transcended both human and Nexari definitions of love. Together, they held on against the tide of power, their shared consciousness becoming an anchor in the storm. As the transformed weapons rained down harmlessly on Nova Prime, Nathan felt something fundamental shifting in their link. The boundaries between them were blurring, not into sameness, but into a harmony of differences that sang with new possibility. They were creating something entirely new, not just in themselves, but in the very fabric of reality around them. And through their shared awareness, they felt the Varketh collective consciousness beginning to change as well, their rigid ideology cracking in the face of undeniable beauty. But victory, they both knew, would demand one final transformation. One that would either unite three species in a new understanding of existence, or tear the universe apart in the attempt. The crystalline towers of Nova Prime vibrated with barely contained power as Nathan and Kthar stood at their center, their merged consciousness reaching across space to the Varketh fleet. The enemy ships hung in orbit like a swarm of deadly insects, their biomechanical form still trying to mirror the transformation they feared. Their collective consciousness is fracturing, Kthar sent through their link. Her transformed body glowed with internal light, scaled patterns flowing like rivers of starfire across her skin. Some want to understand. Others are determined to destroy what they don't understand, Nathan completed her thought. Through their shared awareness, he felt the Varketh hive mind splitting, centuries of rigid doctrine warring with the undeniable evidence of beautiful change before them. The High Commander's voice cut through their communion, multiple ships powering weapons. They're targeting the city's power network. Energy lanced down from the sky, striking the crystalline towers. But instead of shattering, the crystals began to resonate, channeling the attack's power into the very network Nathan and Kthar had tapped into. Their shared consciousness exploded with sensation. The final transformation, Kthar sent, her thoughts tinged with both anticipation and fear. It wants to complete itself. All of it, not just me, not just us, but everything. Nathan felt it too, the power building around them wasn't just energy, but potential. The potential for change, for evolution, for the barriers between species to dissolve not into sameness, but into harmonious diversity. But the price? If we do this, he sent back, we might not survive as we are. Kthar's response flowed through their link with the warmth of sunrise. But we'll survive together. Their shared consciousness reached out to the crystalline network one final time. Instead of fighting the Varketh attack, they welcomed it, using its power to amplify the transformation that had begun in that secret laboratory. The very air around them began to crystallize and change. Through their expanded awareness, they felt every mind on Nova Prime, human, Nexari, and Varketh alike. They felt the fear, the wonder, the desperate need to understand. And in that moment, they realized what had to be done. Let us show you, they broadcasted, their merged consciousness speaking to all three species at once. Let us show you what change really means. The power flowing through them erupted in a cascade of transformation. The crystalline towers pulsed with light that bent reality itself, sending waves of change rippling through space. But this time, the change wasn't physical, it was understanding. Every mind touched by the wave experienced what Nathan and Kthar shared. Humans felt the ancient wisdom of the Nexari, the pride of forms that could shift like quicksilver. Nexari experienced human adaptability, the strength found in constant growth and change. And the Varketh? The Varketh felt everything. Their hive mind shattered and reformed, expanded and evolved. They felt the beauty of transformation not as corruption, but as the universe's grandest design. Their ships, linked to their consciousness, began to change, not in mimicry now, but in genuine transformation. Through it all, Nathan and Kthar held each other, their physical forms blazing with power as their merged consciousness rode the wave of change they had unleashed. Memories and emotions flowed between them like a river of light. Their first meeting in the embassy. The trust that grew between them. The moment they chose to face the unknown together. And now, as their shared being touched the fundamental forces of reality, the love that had transformed them both. When the light finally faded, Nova Prime had changed. The crystalline towers had evolved into structures that defied traditional physics, their forms celebrating the beauty of transformation. In orbit, the Varketh ships had become something new, organic mechanical forms that pulsed with harmonious life rather than rigid purpose. Nathan and Kthar stood in the center of it all, their own forms settled into a final configuration that was neither human nor Nexari nor anything previously known. Through their permanent link, they felt each other's joy at what they had become, a living bridge between species, between states of being. The universe, Kthar said, her voice carrying harmonics that made reality itself sing, has always been about change. We just needed to learn to change together. Nathan smiled, feeling the truth of it in their shared consciousness. Around them, humans and Nexari were approaching the transformed Varketh with wonder rather than fear. The hive mind had evolved into a network of individual consciousness linked by choice rather than compulsion. "What happens now?" asked the High Commander, his ancient scales shimmering with new life from the transformation wave. Through their link, Nathan and Kthar shared a moment of perfect understanding. They had become something unprecedented, guides for 3 species taking their first steps into a new age of existence. The challenges ahead were immense, but they would face them together. "Now," they said in unison, their merged voice carrying hope like starlight, "we truly begin to explore what we can become. All of us, together." Above them, Nova Prime's binary suns painted the crystalline city in colors that had never existed before. The light played across their transformed forms like a blessing, a promise of endless possibility. Through their permanent link, Nathan and Kthar felt the future unfurling before them, not as a single path, but as an infinite array of beautiful transformations waiting to be explored. They had started as diplomat and warrior, human and alien. They had become something more, not by sacrificing what they were, but by embracing what they could be together. And in their transformation, they had shown 3 species that the greatest strength lies not in rigid purity, but in the courage to change and grow. Their love had not just saved their worlds, it had transformed them. And in the light of Nova Prime's evolved crystalline spires, that transformation was only the beginning.